Hi guys, very good morning to you. Welcome to the video number 260, and in this video we're going to talk about the Excel VBA forms, and today the topic is the combo box and the list box, how to create the combo box and the list box. And I'm also going to tell you that how they both basically both the things look, and you can choose any of them when you actually work on the forms. And we have recently started a series on the user forms, and if you would go ahead and watch the video number 259, there we have actually talked about the text box and the command button. So let me show you. This was the video actually. There I have started it from the very basic level, and I talked about this particular kind of a form, which if you insert some information here, let's say I write here some name, and then let's say I write something and I just click on the submit, you get to see basically the those values here, right? So these are the two controls which we learned. One is the text box and one is the command button, right? These are both the text boxes and this is the command button. So if you don't have any idea about the VBA user forms, you are a beginner, and or maybe you are learning but you don't have any idea about the user forms, please go ahead and watch that video number 259. And for those who are watching the channel for the first time, let me just take 10 seconds. You can just simply click on the playlist and you would find here all the videos, all the different categories, right? So we have a here category called Excel VBA user forms, right? So there you will see that video along with some more advanced and intermediate level of the videos, right? Okay, so now let's quickly start this. In this video today, we are actually going to learn about the two things, as I said, combo box and the list box. Now they are also called the controls, right? And in the previous chapter we covered the text box and the command button. Okay, so these are the two additional things which we are going to do today, right? All right, so let's go ahead and let's just create them. So let's go to the developer tab and the Visual Basic, and the first thing which you need to do is you need to click on the insert and the user form, right? So once you click on the user form, this is what exactly the window would come, and you can resize it. I have explained this in the previous video. I mean, so I'm really not going to explain it all these things which basically we have already talked about it. But yes, couple of things which are very important. For example, if you don't see this toolbox coming, and then you would be wondering that how you're going to actually draw those controls, just go to the view option and click on the toolbox, and there the window would come, and from here you can pick up the things. Now actually today, as I said, that we need to create the combo box. So why we need the combo box? That's the first thing you should know, right? So let me first click on this and let me drag it here, guys. Okay, so once you have dragged this combo box, now let's have a look how it looks in the user form. So when you hit on the run, this is how you see that. You click on this and the drop down would come. Right now there is no value. That is the reason actually you can't see anything over here, right? So this is called your combo box, where you can actually kind of form the drop downs. Okay, so now how to fill up this combo box? First of all, let us go ahead and let us decide that what exactly we want to form here, what we want to show in the drop down. Okay, so let's say I want to show January, February, March, April, and so on, the different months. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to click on this user form and right click on it and the view code. Now guys, this is very important for you. You see, a combo box generally it is programmed in the user form initialize event, which is this event. Initialize means that the first time when this user form is going to be loaded in your memory, right? Yeah, even before you see it, because when you hit on the F5, when you run the user form, it gets loaded in the memory and then comes to you. So it is that event which is very helpful for us, because obviously we would like to show the combo box values whenever this form gets loaded. Okay, and the user should not be able to even find out that kind of the gap that he has to or she has to click somewhere and then the values come. So it has to be very quick. It should come with the form. The moment I hit on the F5 and he clicks here, the values should come. This is what exactly I'm talking about, rather than giving some button here, and if he clicks there and then the combo box should come. No, that's not really the way we do it. So how you gonna do that? You just click on the view code and you make this event called user form initialize. right? So here what we are going to do is we are going to simply write me dot if you have seen the previous video, you know that why I'm using the me is just a way to use to refer to the user form, or you can also use the user form one dot, you know, it's all up to you, but I'm gonna use the me. So this is how you use the me. And now what is the control? What is the name of our control? It's ComboBox 1, right? But I have talked in the previous video also, it's not really recommended. I will not suggest you to go by the default naming convention, because if you have 2 or 3 more combo boxes, then you will be confused, because you see, you by default you would get ComboBox 1, ComboBox 2, ComboBox 3, ComboBox 4, and eventually when you're going to write the code, you will not be able to remember it. So what we do, double click here and click here, and then go to the properties. I click on the property window, then the property window, in the property window you can see that the name is coming ComboBox 1. So we need to change this. I'm gonna make it CMB, and I'm gonna make it month, because we want to show it as a month, right? All right, ComboBox doesn't have any caption header over here as you saw in the previous video, because caption is used to display something in the front end which user can actually see, but in the ComboBox there is no scope of displaying anything, right? So that's why they don't come with the caption. So right now I have changed this name. What else you can do is you can put the label here, obviously, as we used in the previous video also, just to say that you know what exactly you're trying to do. So I can write here label, and now I press F4, or you can go to the view and click on the property window, and now here in the caption you need to change the name. So I'm going to change the name as that choose month, let's say, right? And you can see that this is coming here, so this is fine, right? Now let's come back to the topic. I click on the right click and I go to the view code, and now once I'm on the view code, what we need to do, you know the name of the control, so it's CMB month. So this is so easy for you, right? So we have actually you know this property called list rows. Now list rows means that what exactly you want to link it. So I want to link this you know a range which starts from, let's say, maybe here, let me just write here Jan and Feb and you know March and April and so on, right? So now what I want to do is I want to link this. Okay, you can also keep the extra buffer, that's all up to you. So how you're gonna write that is the important thing. So here, let me shrink this little and let me just put it here, move it here. All right, so this is what now we need to do. So what I'm going to do is equals to, what is your sheet name? The sheet name is sheet 6 and sign of exclamation, and then you write the name F1 2 F, let's say 8. Okay, I'm gonna keep it like 8. Okay, let's just put it within the quotes. Okay, now we're gonna hit on the F8. I'm gonna run this type mismatch. It's giving the type mismatch. We have to all right, so I think we used a wrong property. It's not actually list source, it's got to be row source. Yes, that's the one actually. Okay, so now what I do is I double click here, I want to run this form, and there we go. Now you can see that, guys, the form is auto populated. Now what happens, how this works actually, you have seen the line. I hope this is a very simple line. Obviously there's nothing you know really much to talk about. This is simple line property dot row source, and we are linking it with the sheet. Now this is the special way of writing it. You can see that double quotes and sheet name sign of exclamation. So you need to remember this, obviously. Now let me tell you what happens basically. Now I'm gonna put the break code here. Now see what happens when you're going to hit on this form, you know, see, the first event which will run is user form initialize, and this is what I was talking about, that the form, first of all, when you load the form, you know, user form initialize event gets fired, right? So this is the first event which would run before even form appears on the screen. Right now you can see that there is no form coming, right? Because it is yet to initialize. So when you run initialize, this initialized, still you can't see that, but then after the enter, you know, you get to see, and when you get to see, automatically, you know, it has all those values which you wanted, right? Okay, so there is another way of writing. If you don't want to link it with the cell with this I mean, let's say with this kind of a range, then you can also add the items here as well, and for that you can write like this, CMB. It's all up to you. I mean, different ways, month, add item. So here you can add the items as well. Now for example, let me write here 1 and then me dot cmb month dot add item, another item I want to add, put it within the quotes, and then one more, let's say cmb dot add item, and then we're gonna write here 3. Okay, so I just forgot to put the dot here. Yeah, so let me comment this out. Let's just not execute this line, and now again let me run the form. Let's see what will happen. So I'm going to run this quickly, and there we go. Now you can see that it is actually 1 2 3. So this is another way, right? Now there is one more way of doing it, guys. For example, you can also do one thing. Let's say I'm going to write here quarter 1, quarter 2, and let's say quarter 3. Okay, so what you can do is you can select this entire range and you go here in the name box and then you give it any name. For example, I'm gonna give this name called my range. I press enter, and now you would see that in your this drop down the my range would be created. Whenever you select that, your this portion will be selected. I hope you know about the name ranges, right? This is the Excel trick actually which we are using here. All right, so now what we need to do is, in case if you want to use this kind of a stuff, then again I go to the view code. Let me just comment everything. So in this way also you can write me dot cmb month dot row source equals to, then you're going to provide the range, which is in your case my range. Okay, so again if I remove this, let me remove this, and let's run the code. There we go. You see that this would come. So I have given you 3 ways. Choose whatever depending upon the situation, and it's very simple, right? Now this is about the combo box. What is the another control? As I was talking, there is another control box which is called the list box. Now list box, this is the list box. Let's have the list box over here. Now guys, list box is also works the same way, but it just that it works in the different way. It actually shows all the the contents in the list box. For example, if I run this, have a look. This is the list box. Here you will find all the list one by one, and here you have the drop down, the kind of this drop down. Okay, so now in the list box also we need to do the same thing. So what we will do, again I go to the, I select this user form, I right click and I go to the view code, and now what we need is let's say, let me just right here the same stuff. Let's say the list box. Now you see that the list box 1 is coming, right? Because I haven't changed the name there. So if you're going to change the name there, that name would come. For example, I double click here, I click here, I press F4, or you can use the property window and you go to the list box 1 and you can change the name here. I'm gonna make it, let's say LST, and then let's say month again for this as well. All right, so let's double click, right click and go to the view code. Let me just close all this, we don't need this now. All right, so now me dot, what is your list box? It's LST, you remember, right? So this is very cool. This is a very cool option. You don't have to remember the things. So now here also use the same row source, so you really don't have to worry so much about this. So again the same range I want to connect. Let's see how the difference would come. So let's go ahead and run the form. And by the way, I can also create the button here like we have created here, so that we don't have to run every time F5, because obviously if you send this file to somebody, you will never tell them to go to the Visual Basic. They will hate you like anything. Right? So you just need to create the button here, and that's the way we do. So now in the button we are going to create a macro which will show up the form. So for that you need to insert the module, and in the module you just write anything. Let's say I'm gonna write here form 2. That's just the name of my macro, but then you need to write the name of the user form. Your form name is user form 1, so you write here user form 1 dot show. Okay, this is how you can also change the name of the user form. I have explained this in the previous video. Like you see in the previous video, we prepared this student form actually, which I was telling you in the beginning of this video. So its name is not user form 1 or 2 3 4, it's student form, so that you can change, right? Okay, but I'm not going to change it again because I've already explained it. Now let's go ahead and create the macro. So I right click here, I go to the sign macro, and what is the name of this macro is form 2. Yeah, form 2. So let's hit here and let's have a value. Now you see that the difference between the list box and the combo box. List box actually works like this. You can select the things and then you can click on the button, and then whatever the program you have written, you can use these values. But in the combo box, the drop down comes. So this is the basic difference, right? So if you want to know that how to run the loops in the list box items, for example, how would you come to know that which value user has selected? So I have already explained those things in here, in these Excel VBA user forms. Go and watch those amazing videos. But first, you should have a good understanding on the list boxes, right? Which I'm sure this video has given you. So here you can see that display big names in the list box, and if your name is too long, then how you can display in the list boxes. Export multiple values of list box. If you want to export all these values from the list box to somewhere, maybe in your Excel or wherever, I mean in any other workbook, any other sheet, so that is also can be done. So there we have talked about actually the different loops which you can use in the list box. This is also one of the very good video user form list box with advanced filter, right? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and now you know the difference between the list box and the combo box and how you basically program the things, right? So whatever we have used here for the list box, right, before I end up this video, these all things can be used with the list box also. For example, if I write list month, list month, and then I'm going to write here add item, it can also be added. So it can be added. For example, I'm going to write here equals to Ajay. Okay, and let me just comment this line out, because you can't have the two things at the same time. So now if I hit on the F5, or maybe we can do one thing. By the way, you just don't need the equals to sign when you add the item. So if I go back and hit here, you see that can't execute the break code in the, okay, just one second, let me reset the code. Yeah, now let's hit on here. You see that it's coming. So add item is also going to work on the the list boxes, right? So whatever you can use, I mean, in terms of your row source, these add items or the sheet names like this, that can also be used with the list boxes. So it's just that the appearance is different, and then of course in the combo box you can't run the loop, because in the combo box you have a direct value. So you just simply write here that the combo box value equals to this. For example, if I have to use what the user has selected in the combo box, then how I'm gonna do that? So this is the way you create the button here, which is I go to the view, and in the toolbox I create a button called this, which I have already talked about in the previous video. So I create here, let's say, a button, and then we go to the F4 in the property of this, and I'm gonna name this as CMD click, let's say. Okay, now you double click on this and you will be on the submit click event. So whenever the user clicks on this button, what should happen? So for example, what I want to do is I want to display what the user has selected in the combo box. So this is how you're gonna write CMD and then month dot value, because at a time in the combo box only one value is going to be chosen, but in the list box you can select more than 2-3 things, and for that I have already talked about all that stuff in these videos. You can go ahead and watch these videos, like this is the interactive list box, and then of course export list item. This is a very important video. So both works in a different way. Now if I hit on this window, you see in the list box, if you have more number of items, let's just add some more items. Let me go back to this, and by the way, let's change the name as well. Let me press F4 and let's go to the caption box of this command button, and I am gonna write it click so that it looks good, right? Okay, now I go back to the program, and here let's say I'm just going to comment this out, that's fine, and we're going to use this my range, right? All right, so now I hit on this. Now what I'm saying is, you see that right now I can select only one value. So if you have selected one value, how would you come to know which value user has selected? Because in the combo box it is very simple. You can select anything, and when you click, then the message box would come and pop up the value of this quarter 2, because we have said there that the value equals to combo box dot value. But in the list box it is not like that, because in the list box you have different rankings, you have different index, right? So you need to run the loop, and then that loop will run on all the values one by one, and it sees that whatever the value it is selected, selected, that is going to be popped up. So the program works entirely different, the appearance is also different, but yes, when you add the items, when you add these all things in the combo box or the list box, you use always a row source property. So let me hit on this click, and there we go. You see that Q2 is coming because I've selected the this value Q1. So if I again hit, I get to see the Q1, and this is because of the reason that in the last, if you remember, I have written here me.cm b month.value, but you can't write this me.list. If you write list month.value, this is going to create a problem actually, because you wouldn't be knowing that which value actually user has selected. It could be second value, it could be 25th value. So for that you need to run a loop, which is not a part of basic video. I have already told you that what you need to do if you're interested in having a look at that, right? So guys, I hope this has cleared your the concept towards the making of these combo and the list boxes, and leave your comments, anything you want to further understand, and I will be back with some more exciting stuff. Thank you so much. Bye bye. And yes, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. Thank you so much.